Catholic bishops threaten Biden with communion ban over stance on abortion. On June 17th, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops pushed ahead with a draft in a majority vote that would deny President Joe Biden the Holy Communion because of his stance on abortion laws. Approval of this new statement will authorize individual bishops to deny Catholic politicians who support abortion, the sacred rite of the Eucharist. This step has brought new life into the debate on the church's influence in politics and interference. In response, the following day, a group of 60 Catholic Democrats who are congressional representatives released a statement of principles urging the Conference of Catholic Bishops to stop weaponizing the Holy Eucharist. In 2015, Biden stated regarding abortion that he personally believes that life begins at conception, but that he is not prepared to impose a view that is born out of his faith onto other people.
Okay, so this is the most extreme meddling in politics by religion, like by these churches. Are these not 501(c)s that are like, wait, are these not churches? This is coming from churches that are not supposed to be meddling in politics, correct?
Yes, although
okay, so
they would.
And okay, you're the ex-Catholic here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
If the church doesn't let you get, I don't know, communion, I don't know how this stuff works, does that mean that you can't go to heaven?
No.
Oh. So what's the consequences of you not getting the Jesus snack?
So like the Eucharist is like it's a sacrament. It's a holy sacrament. So you're being refused a religious ritual. And so where do I start with this? So what's being debated by the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops is this kind of letter or statement that they're working on crafting. And it's kind of complicated and become many things at once. One of the things that is a defining of what the Eucharist is. So that's kind of important to your question. And this arose because there was a poll that showed that many Catholics in the United States either aren't informed, like they don't know the actual policy and teachings regarding the Eucharist, or they disagree with the Catholics' teachings on the Eucharist. So it's a statement about reaffirming what exactly it is, what it means, and when it is appropriate to receive. The second thing that's involved in this is deciding if politicians who support abortion, who use federal funds for abortion, who are involved in making that more accessible for people in their capacity as a statesperson, should they be able to receive the Eucharist? Let me explain. So when you receive the Eucharist, for those who don't know, this is something that's important for Catholics because it symbolizes, and not even symbolizes, we believe in transubstantiation, which means that when the wine and the host is blessed, we believe that it literally becomes the body and blood of Christ. It's not a symbol of his sacrifice or something. No, it's a tenet of the faith, Catholic faith, to believe that it is literally his flesh and blood. So to be able to receive the flesh and blood of Christ, you are supposed to be in a state of grace. What does this mean? This means that you are supposed to be free of sin, that you have confessed all of the sins that you did, from the last time that you confessed to a priest, and you're not supposed to receive communion until you are in that state of grace. However, I'm pretty sure the vast majority of Catholics don't fit that qualification. Like, I don't know anyone who's a Catholic who goes to confession that regularly. So they're saying that it is not coherent to be a Catholic and to receive the Eucharist while you are supporting abortion at the level that many Democratic politicians are.
Basically.
They're not saying that you're not a Catholic. They're just saying that you're not pure enough to receive the flesh of our Lord right now.
And okay, so what is the consequences of not receiving that? Like in the afterlife, is there no consequences?
I'm not informed enough to know if there is a consequence to like not receiving the Eucharist once, like, or maybe several times. Because, you know, if theoretically, you know, at your in your last hours, you can change your mind and say that was wrong and still go to heaven, you know. So
I'm just wondering if the Catholic Church thinks that it has the power to basically deny heaven to people, right? Like, and are they basically, is the Catholic Church in the United States? Wait, is this the Catholic Church in the United States, or is this like a? Oh yeah,
this is pretty specific to the U.S., although there are other countries that have this debate.
Right. So I'm just wondering if they're threatening Biden with hell. You know what I mean?
No, that's not my understanding.
Because, well, I mean, Marcia in the live chat, she's saying that yes, this will mean that he will go to hell. Right? I don't know if Marcia is an ex-Catholic or something like that. I don't know what the consequences of not receiving the communion is. But I'm wondering if the Catholic Church believes that they have the authority to decide if somebody, like by refusing you the service, we are basically sending you to hell. They are but in effect, that would mean the Catholic Church in the United States is threatening Biden with hellfire for his views. And let me go one step further. That means that the Catholic Church in the United States is threatening to torture the president of the United States because they don't agree with him, right? And I understand that there's no hell, okay? Okay, I know that. You don't need to clarify this. But they don't think that. If you know, they don't think that. They think hell is real. And if they think they have the authority to send somebody to hell, basically they are actively believing that they are deciding that the president of the United States needs to be tortured with hellfire, and they are threatening him with that. I mean, if somebody wants to torture you and they don't have the tools, but they think they do, and they threaten you with it, their intention is basically that they wanted to torture you. I mean, I know we put religion as like its own category of crazy, separate from other crazies. But if this was any other form of crazy that was not religious, this could be described as like, yeah, this giant institution in the United States was threatening the president of the United States with torture with fire if they don't agree with their views. That would what it would come down to. I think you were looking at something, you were doing some research, or
well, so like the Eucharist is a form of worship, so it's a way to deny someone very publicly their ability to worship. They're denying them their ability to exercise their faith, kind of. So you were talking about like, 501c3s and political influence. Well, they could easily argue their way out of it because you just think of it like a club. Like they get to decide who receives certain services of their club. Yeah, and
Catholic doctrine that if you're not in this club, you go to hell. That's Catholic doctrine. If you're not in the club, you go to hell. Okay? So they are effectively threatening the US president with torture. I know, like somebody in life, again, I knew that somebody's going to say like, there is no hell. That threat is pathetic to us. Yes, God damn it. I know, we know that, but they don't think like that. So in their mind, hell is a real place where you're going to be tortured. So in their mind, like just because it's not going to work, that doesn't mean that that's not what they're doing in their mind, right? I mean, this would be, if there was even a small group in the United States that wasn't a giant institution, like, oh yeah, Biden, we don't like Biden and his views, and we want to torture him. Like we were like, what the hell? Like we need to send the police there. Like this is insane, right? But yeah, go ahead.
Like I've never been taught that there is any connection between receiving the Eucharist and hell. So I don't really think that there's that connection. They're just saying you're not holy enough, you're not full of grace, you're not in a position to receive this aspect of our faith because you're deviating from our faith. You cannot receive this right now because there are very specific circumstances in which you can receive a Eucharist. If you haven't been had a reconciliation, and if you hadn't had a first communion, you're not supposed to receive the Eucharist, period. Like a Protestant is not supposed to be able to receive the Eucharist. So, like, it's just a rule, right? Like, maybe someone is more of an expert on Catholic theology, but that's not my understanding. Like, because he could later come into grace and receive it fine. All sins are forgiven.
By the way, I think Biden's popularity rate is right now really high right now. I know that this is still the honeymoon period, but Biden's approval rating is pretty high, and the Catholic Church's approval rating is at historical lows. So I don't think
I don't know what gave you that impression.
I don't think the Catholic Church is at any position you guys, some people might use Biden being a Catholic against them as a way to not like him. So congratulations, the Catholic Church. You managed to make him seem more like a rebel against the Catholic Church, even though he's a Catholic, right? So, I think that this might even help Biden. If people who don't like the Catholic Church and might have been like, oh, wow, Biden is a Catholic, that's cringe. Now they don't think that because, Biden is a Catholic, but the Catholic Church hates him. Yay, base Biden. You know what I mean? That's why, go ahead.
I mean, speaking as a millennial American, I think you're kind of right, though, because I liked Biden's response. He's like, personally, I believe, the Catholic doctrine that life begins at conception, but he's just taking a secularist stance and saying that shouldn't affect how I do my job as a legislator, and I'm not going to impose that on other people because that's not my place as a legislator. It's a very secular stance. I really like that. But you just highlighted a comment by the Rabid Atheist that I wanted to read. The Rabid Atheist, who is an ex-pastor, is saying, I thought communion was means of grace, and so it would have more of an effect on time spent in purgatory. Not an expert, but I've had a lot of dialogue with Catholic priests. Rabid Atheist, you very much could be correct. I went to Catholic school for pretty much all of my education, but that doesn't mean that, I have as nuanced of an understanding as, an actual theologian.
Okay. Go on, you were finished.
Well, that's actually what I find interesting. It is one of the purposes of this letter that is being debated by the council is actually to be educated. They're calling for a Eucharistic revival in the United States because so many Catholics disagree with what the Catholic Church's actual policy on the Eucharist is, or they don't actually know what it is correctly. So that's another aspect of this. But I do have to say really quickly that this whole letter that's very controversial being debated hasn't formally been approved. It's still under debate and drafted as far as I know.
Yeah. I mean, I like this. The Catholic Church was like, we're not unpopular enough. Let's do something that makes us even more people even hate us. This is great. Keep doing it. Good job, Catholic Church. Keep doing that. We need more people to hate you. By the way, I just have a question. At one point during the communion, does the whole thing turns into body of Jesus? It was the body of Jesus from the beginning, or is it when you put it in your mouth, or is it when you swallow? At one point during this process, does the whole thing?
So during the Mass, there is a blessing of the Eucharist. There's a sacramental ceremony, and at the point in which the priest finishes a very specific prayer, and you jingle these bells, at that point it becomes the flesh and blood of Christ. So it's on the altar. It's been blessed. It's been transformed into Jesus.
And then when you eat it, and then you digest it. It stops being the body of Christ, right? Because I don't think
you consume it into your own being.
Yeah, but you don't poop Jesus, right? Like at some point, at some point inside of you, it will go from being the body of Jesus to it not being the body of Jesus, or else you're pooping Jesus. Are you pooping Jesus? No, right?
I don't know how to answer that question.
I just wanted to know, like,
Holy-
if this is a living body of Jesus and you're eating it, and then it stops being the body of Jesus, you're technically killing the living body of Jesus. Like, if you're pro-life, like, you should run into the church. You're like, I'm saving you, Jesus. Like, you should just run in the church, just grab the bread, and just go like, Jesus, I got you. These idiots are gonna eat you. These people are gonna eat you. I'm gonna save you, and then just go home and just like build a home for the bread. And
oh my God.
it's pro-life. You're
Oh,
being
no.
pro-life. They're killing Jesus every day, or every weekend. At least.
You're just watching my Catholic brain explode right now.
All right.
Oh, and the rabid atheist is bringing up another very good point. Thank you for reminding me. He's saying the Pope came out against these bishops. According to The Hill, oddly, they seem to be going forward anyways. So yeah, Pope Francis has supposedly said that he's against this weaponizing of the Eucharist. That he had a quote where he said that Eucharist is medicine for sinners. It's not like a prize reserved for saints or something like that. So he's actually saying this shouldn't be for perfect people. This should actually be how we bring people better towards the perfection that we find through Christ. It's a tool. It's not something that we receive only once we're here, which I thought was very interesting, especially as someone who like grew up within this tradition.
People are coming up with their own theories in the live chat.
I can't with you guys. Hey guys, if you're a fan of blasphemy and sexy Callie, you know, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe. Link in the description below.